Hello everyone and welcome back. So it's been a while since I've done my last video about my gasifier, and that's just because I wanted to show you some results. But let me first show you the modifications that I've done. I want to show you my new filtering system. It's this tube here, and then I will try to see the kind of under pressure that my fan is capable to achieve. I found the idea of using these old masks as filtering materials funny, so I will try that out also. I've done some modifications. So this time my cooling system here, the gases are splitting here into this tube and this tube. Then they go up and then out here into my filtering tube. Before, the gases were going up here, going down here, and then out, and then they went into this filter here. So what I did, it's just a T here and a T on the bottom. I've got some screwable covers here, just so I can put in new filtering material and take it out if I want. So this goes in here, and I've got some, like a small filter here, just to prevent the filtering material from going inside of my other filters and into my engine. So this goes just like that over here. Okay. One of my ideas was also to use metal as a filter, because it seemed to me that the tar sticks better to metals than to other materials. So I will use this kind of things here as filtering material. In fact, I quickly abandoned this idea of using masks as filtering material, because they restrict too much the airflow, the gas flow. Instead, I used a piece of a motorcycle filter. On this test I had problems with my fan, and the flame was not sustainable. So now I understand why it did not work that good this time. I changed the position of my fan, and we can see that there is some tar that accumulated inside of this cross here. And that's just because I put the fan in this direction instead of this direction. So the tar wanted to drop out this way. If it's in this position, the tar wants to go right here on the bottom. This filter was still not good enough in getting rid of the tar, so I thought I'd try something else. So it was obvious that cooling down the gases even more would condense the tar, and so I thought I'd give it a try. And what's more, I had an old oil bath filter from a tractor that was lying around, and I thought I'd use this also as a bubbling filter. So I think it's time to make some modifications on this gasifier, just to make it more compact. You see, this cooling device here is left from my cycloid filter, and I did this because first I wanted to make the cooling device downwards here, but now it's clear that it's better to make it upwards, so that the condensed water will just flow down here and right into my cycloid filter. So it's better to put this cooling device directly up above the cycloid. This will avoid this long tube here where the water will stay instead of flow, and it will allow me to put more filtering devices here, and especially I want to put my oil bath filter from my tractor like somewhere here before then going up and entering this last filtering tube. So here's my oil bath filter, which I've prepared to be able to attach some PVC pipes on there, and I will just have to fill it with oil. So I will just try to make a kind of radiator out of PVC pipe. I know it's not the best material to do this because it's kind of insulating, not very heat conductive, but it's the easiest thing to do, and it's pretty cold outside now, so I think it will work. Okay, so here's my setup that I will glue together. So I've got my radiator here that comes out of my first cooling device. Here. At the bottom we can drop out the water that will condense in there. And then all this comes into this oil bath filter from my tractor. Then it goes up here through this tube filter in my ammunition box. So let's just glue this together. And after all this was installed, I gave it a try, and it seemed to me that the tar content was very small. So you see it's cold outside. The only issue that I had was that the engine did not run for a long time. The gas seemed to become less and less flammable while the engine was running, and so I had to use the fan again to get the gas burnable again, and then to run the engine for a few minutes again. Here you can see my gasifier running a flame and the engine. In fact, the fan is blowing the gas into my engine and runs the flame. So this means that the underpressure that is produced by my engine is not the right one to run my gasifier. It's not adapted to my gasifier, whereas the underpressure from my fan is adapted to my gasifier. So I will have to measure the underpressure that is produced by my fan and by my engine and try to adapt that. So in order to see if my engine soaks in too much air or not enough air, I will have to measure the underpressure with this tube here, and I will have to compare the underpressure created by the fan and the underpressure created by the engine. So here I have a tube, a transparent tube, which will soak in water. I think 1 centimeter of water height, water column, corresponds to 1 millibar of underpressure. So both valves are closed here, and we will measure the maximal underpressure that my fan can produce. Alright, so I will let the engine run, and then I will close this valve here so that it soaks in the air from the gasifier. Just to see if this lack of underpressure comes from all the filtering system here, I've unmounted everything, and I will just let the engine soak the air directly out of here, and we'll see the kind of underpressure that we get here. So these things here probably don't let enough gas pass through, especially this filter here is too restrictive, and this tube is too small, I think. And maybe there are some air leaks so that air can go in the system, into the system, without passing through my gasifier. So there we go, I will have to fix that. So now I'm emptying my filter, as you can see. So here's the metal wool. This one was rusting inside there. That's really not a good thing. So here's my new setting. The tube is empty. I've got my oil bath filter here, and for the moment For the moment this valve is open, so the engine can soak in the air from here. I will just start the engine and then close the valve just to see the underpressure that is produced. Alright, so you can see my water level rises up to 2 centimeters if my valves are both open, 3 centimeters if one valve is closed, and up to 7 centimeters if both valves are closed, both air inlet valves. So this means my fan produces a maximum underpressure of 7 millibars. When I ran my engine the last time without all the filtering system, the water level came up to 2 centimeters, like with the fan. Okay, so that's it. I hope the next time I will be able to run this engine for a long period of time. I've heard that I would need 4 millibars of underpressure here, but I've got only 2 millibars of underpressure. I can regulate this by these valves here, but this will also restrict the airflows, so I don't know if it's a good idea to close these valves to get a greater underpressure. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.